to invite Mitch and the others to share some of what the White Horse Addiction Center does. I think you will find it very informative. So Mitch, you can come on up. And before we get started, I'd like to present you guys with a check from the church, from the Mission Outreach Committee that helps support the White Horse Addiction Center. This check is in the amount of $1,000. So we pray and bless that the Lord will multiply that for you and your ministry.
I want to thank the pastor for inviting me here and for you all to take the time to actually listen to us. This journey started for me back around 2008. Today, White Horse Addiction Center, like you said, we started a pretty small operation. I think in 2013, I think when we met in about that time, we were on a fold-up table in the middle of this kind of dilapidated building, trying to figure out what we were going to be and how we were going to make this work. So today, White Horse does substance use disorder treatment for outpatient. We do intensive outpatient treatment. We have a recovery resource center. And after the service, we can explain any of those things to you, exactly how they work. What I want to do, and before I bring Kathy up, is talk to you. Kind of the theme of this to me is more a crisis of faith that we're in than an opioid crisis. And I'll explain that. When I started this back in 2008, I was in the middle of getting my master's degree in theology, and I was working as a volunteer for an organization called No Longer Bound. No Longer Bound is a Christian faith-based organization that's helping people in addiction. So I saw a lot through that. One of my tasks I had to do in my master's program was put together a research paper. My paper was on Christianity in America. So I was trying to figure out what was going on. Well, it was funny, but I pulled up the first thing I learned was that New Hampshire was the least church state in the United States. I actually have a couple of reports, and I'll put them out here, but the least Bible-minded city this is last year's review, the least Bible-minded city is Manchester, New Hampshire, right? And it's tied to Boston, and there's only one other worse. And then I read another survey I did on post-Christian cities. In other words, cities that have left Christianity behind. And it was a Barna survey, and that Barna survey basically said that Manchester and Boston were tied again for second in the least and the worst. So I at the same time, they had this other pieces of information tied to this, and one was on the drug addiction. The other part I learned that New Hampshire was the worst state in the United States for drug addiction. And I did a little research further, and Carroll County was one of the worst counties in the state, in the United States. And at that time, I think we had had 200 deaths in the state of New Hampshire in that year that I started this. Last year, we had 500 deaths. When I started in the United States, there was 33,000 Americans died of drug overdose. Last year, 72,000 people died. Put that in perspective, what brought people to God in 2011 was 9/11. 3,000 people died. Today, every year, we're seeing an increase of almost 10,000 people dying, and we're up to 72 right now. So I'm sitting in Georgia, and I'm seeing some of these numbers early on, and I made a decision to leave my career at UPS and come back to New Hampshire. Selfishly, I have grandchildren here and children. I said, somebody's got to do something up there because something's not working. And one of the things I learned in No Longer Bound, if we were going to really beat this crisis and do it, we weren't going to do it alone. There was no state legislature, there was no police department, there was nobody who was going to fix this. The only power to fix this is Jesus Christ. And I really believe that, and I believe that to this day. What you started off with David and Goliath just blew me away. I don't know. You have no idea, but we just did a presentation in Manchester and we used David and Goliath. Because the opioid crisis really is Goliath. And Goliath doesn't just carry a sword. He carries a sword of fear. In this case, he carries a sword of hopelessness. So what we have to do is use Christ to turn this around. So it's funny, our folks at White Horse call themselves hope dealers, right? Instead of drug dealers, we're hope dealers. Because really, after all these years working with the folks, what we're finding is one after another, they come in to see us, and the first thing we learn is they're broken. They don't have any hope. They don't believe there's any way out of this thing. And they come to this issue in a lot of different ways. But so we have come to learn that we're one of the only Christian organizations fighting this fight right now. There's a couple in Manchester, Challenge, and some others. But in this area, this part of the state, we're it. Nobody else is out there using this. So we treat people both secular and non. We do Christian-based recovery programs, and we do secular too. But the ones that really seem to be the most effective for us are the Christian ones. So, you know, I can tell you a whole lot of things. Some of the stuff that I've seen in the last 2 years, we are on the front line of this fight. Our stone that we put in our slingshot is really the hope that we try to bring and show people that come into us. And if you think, you know, what you see a lot today in rehab and in that community is this recycling of people. So they go into a drug rehab for 28 days, they come out, and before you know it, they're back in again. And it's a continuous cycle. So we're trying to develop a program that doesn't just work with someone for a week, 28 days, but we work with them for a lifetime. You know, our program, we started this thing called the Shed. Shed your old self for a new one. And it gives people a place just to walk in. Doesn't cost anything. We don't charge people for it, but they can get anything they want there. They can come in just to sit down. They can come in and get a meal. They can come in and take a shower. They can come in and get a recovery coach who will help them with their planning. We have certified recovery support workers that are there. What God has done with this, we don't call ourselves a company. We call ourselves a mission. What God has done with this mission is kind of crazy. And we really didn't get really active until 2015. So today, what we see coming through is about 70 clients a week that are coming through our treatment program. And we've had over 2,000 people come through our resource center since January. So the number of people coming through is incredible. We have a lot of success stories, people that have really turned around. You'll hear about some of that with Kathy when she comes up. But we've had some losses too. It's not all pretty. We've lost some people, and that's difficult, especially when you get close to them. You try not to get yourself too involved with people, you know, but that's impossible to do. You can't minister to people and take care of them without loving them. And when you do lose them, it hurts. You know, and our counselors hurt. It's tough. It's a tough business. But I believe if the faith-based community, the body of believers, those with Christ, will step forward and stand together, we will make the stone big enough to bring down Goliath. And we really believe that. And you're starting to see it. There's other groups that are starting to pull together of believers. Who would have think we're this Christian group and we got Carroll County to give us funding? Right? That was unheard of in the past. We've had more articles in the newspaper about us than almost any other addiction center. I don't think anything had it. And it's not us. That's God putting that in there. It's nothing that we have done directly. We've only facilitated what He wanted us to do. We really believe that. We pray all the time. One of the biggest things we do with the people that come in is we pray with them, for them, over them constantly. You know, what people see when they come and visit Whitehorse is they see God. They see through us. We don't proselytize them. We don't pound them over the head with the Bible. We don't sit there preaching to them. But I guarantee you, by the time they're done, they'll know who He is. And they'll have found Christ through this program and through the people that work there. So I've been blessed to be able to, you know, giving up my career was a little nerve-wracking at first. You know, I was like, wow, I'm going to go back and I'm going to take less than half the pay that I was doing before. And I'm going to start this up in a community that doesn't want me to be there. How did that work out? It worked out pretty good, because one of the reasons I call this Whitehorse is if you go back to Revelation 19:11, you know, when Jesus first came the first time, He came on this donkey, right? you know, and everybody ended up turning on him. But when he comes back the next time in Revelation 19:11, he comes back, the heavens open, and there, behold, I see a white horse, and on his rider, on the white horse is a rider called Faithful and True. He will come back on that white horse. So I said, if we're going to battle, and that's what we are, we're in the front line of a fight here, we're going to do it with the guy that's riding on the white horse. So that's why we call ourselves White Horse. So if anyone ever asked you, some people, you know, someone came up to me and said, oh, cocaine is called White Horse. Yeah, but there's a lot higher power that's called White Horse, on a White Horse. So that's how we came up with our name. We come under constant attacks, our staff, different things happen to us, but we ask churches when we go to speak, just pray for us, pray on a regular basis. You don't know how this crisis will affect you. You don't know when it will affect you, but I assure you at some point it will. It could be through somebody you know, it could be through a family member, it could be just someone in the neighborhood. It could be through crime. I will tell you that we work with kids in high schools now. You know what the graduates remember the most about their school now? It's how many friends they lost. They don't remember some of the good stuff. If you talk to the kids, they can tell you more about friends and people they know they're using they've lost than they can about other stuff. So we're engaging. We're finally getting some of the schools to let this Christian organization come in. You know, and the kids, when we talk to them, they open up to us and they listen to what we have to say. So that's what White Horse is. We're a lot. We're a mission, we're not a company. I believe I was called to do this. It's not always an easy calling to do. I struggle sometimes with my faith and believing, will God have this whole thing? I've had sleepless nights wondering, how am I going to make my payroll in the next week? And then somehow God comes out of nowhere and takes care of it. So I'm human, you know, I still struggle, but God's an incredible God. You know, just this morning, you know, when you talk about David and Goliath, I sit there and the Holy Spirit work put that on your heart, and that's really where we're at. It's just a remarkable thing. So I'll have information. We have information out there. We're going to stay for your dessert auction. See if I can pick one up. So I'll be here to talk. You're welcome to come and talk to us anytime. You know, I want you to know that at White Horse, our door's open. Anybody can walk in anytime. You can call us, even if it's just because you got a question, you need some help or for whatever reason. White Horse is a recovery community organization. That means that we're open to the whole community, whatever you need. We're there for that. So I would ask, feel free to stop in and check us out. I'm blessed when you give us a check like that. What that will do for us and help us with is hard to explain, but it does a lot. But just, you know, one of the greatest weapons you have and you can help us with is prayer. Pray for us. Pray for a hedge of protection to be around us, and pray for people. You know, if you know somebody that needs something, you send them to us. We don't start off with, here, I need this much money from you. We start off with, okay, let's talk about what this problem is. We'll deal with money and payments later. You know, that's not the first thing we look for. So you don't have to have money, you don't have to have insurance, you don't have to have anything but a need to come and get some help. We're there. So with that, what I'd like to do is have you hear from Kathy. Kathy, I don't want to give too much away her thing, but she came to us a while ago because she had a problem. It wasn't hers, but she had a problem. And I'll let her explain it.